Welcome to Transcendent, the YouTube channel where we explore mysteries of existence and the frontiers of human understanding. I'm your host, Mark Roach. And today we're diving into one of the most profound questions of our time. What is consciousness? Inspired by the groundbreaking work of Anakah Harris, we'll unravel how science is shattering our intuitions about consciousness and what this means for overcoming complex PTSD. Together, let's explore how rethinking consciousness can empower us to heal, grow, and transform our relationship with suffering. Let's embark on this journey and enjoy the depths of awareness and the possibilities it holds for transcending trauma. Thanks for joining me today on Transcendent. Today we're going to explore this topic that's as mysterious as transformative consciousness. Drawing inspiration from Anakah Harris's thought-provoking work, we'll examine how modern science is challenging our assumptions in consciousness and how these insights can help us navigate and overcome the complexities of PTSD. To begin, let's reflect on what consciousness really is. Consciousness encompasses every experience we've ever had. Our joys, our fears, our memories, and even this very moment of awareness. Yet, despite its centrality to our existence, it remains one of the greatest mysteries in science. Why does non-conscious matter, like atoms and molecules, configured in a way that produces felt experiences? Why do we feel anything at all? For those of us grappling with complex PTSD, this question takes on a deeply personal dimension. How can understanding consciousness help us make sense of our pain and begin the process of healing? Anakah Harris reminds us that consciousness is not just another scientific puzzle. It's the puzzle that underlies all others. While science has made incredible strides in explaining the physical world, from subatomic particles to galaxies, it has yet to explain why or how subjective experience arises. For those living with complex PTSD, the mystery is magnified by the overwhelming nature of traumatic memories and emotional flashbacks. Why do certain experiences leave such deep imprints on our conscious minds, and why does the mind replay these experiences in ways that feel so vivid and real? By acknowledging consciousness as a mystery rather than something fully understood, we open ourselves to new ways of thinking about trauma instead of seeing PTSD as merely a malfunction of brain circuits or an overactive stress response. We can begin to view it through the lens of consciousness, a phenomenon deeply tied to our sense of self and reality. Modern neuroscience challenges many of our intuitive beliefs about consciousness. Traditionally, we've assumed that consciousness arises solely from complex brain processes, but it's a byproduct of neural activity in highly evolved organisms like humans. But what if this assumption is wrong? Anakah Harris suggests that consciousness might be a fundamental aspect of nature, akin to gravity or electromagnetism. For those of us with PTSD, this perspective can be liberating. If consciousness is not confined to the brain, but is instead a universal property, then our traumatic experiences are not just faulty wiring. They're part of a broader tapestry of awareness that connects us to something larger than ourselves. This shift in perspective can help us move beyond self-blame and toward a more compassionate understanding of our suffering. Harris also invites us to redefine what we mean by consciousness. Instead of limiting it to higher order thinking or human cognition, she broadens the definition to include basic awareness and sentience. This expanded view allows us to see consciousness not as something exclusive, but as something shared across many forms of life. For those dealing with PTSD, this redefinition is crucial. Trauma often narrows our focus, makes us feel isolated in our pain. But when we embrace a broader view of consciousness, we can begin to see ourselves as part of an interconnected web of sentient beings, all experiencing life in their own unique ways. This realization can foster empathy for ourselves and for others, creating space for healing. One of the most striking ideas that Harris explores is that consciousness can exist without observable behavior. Take the example of Jean-Dominique Bauby, who suffered from locked-in syndrome yet retained full conscious experience. His story challenges the assumption that outward actions are necessarily indicators of inner awareness. For those with complex PTSD, this insight resonates deeply. Trauma often leaves us feeling trapped, unable to express what we're experiencing internally. But Bauby's story reminds us that even when we feel immobilized by pain or fear, our conscious experience remains valid and meaningful. Recognizing this can help us honor inner struggles without needing external validation. Another counterintuitive finding from neuroscience is that conscious awareness doesn't always drive action. For example, fear responses often occur before we're consciously aware of them, a phenomenon familiar to anyone who has experienced PTSD triggers. This realization can be both humbling and empowering. It shows us that many aspects of our trauma responses are automatic, not failures of willpower or character, but deeply ingrained survival mechanisms. By understanding this, we can approach our healing journey with greater patience and self-compassion. Harris poses two profound questions. How do we know if another is being conscious? And does consciousness serve a functional purpose? These questions challenge long-held assumptions about sentience and its role in behavior. For those healing from PTSD, these questions invite us to reflect on our own conscious experience. What purpose does my pain serve? While trauma often feels purposeless or destructive, reframing it through the lens of consciousness allows us to explore its deeper meaning. Perhaps our suffering is not just something to be eradicated, but something that can teach us about resilience and empathy and transformation. As we expand our understanding of consciousness to include other systems like animals, plants, even artificial intelligence, we're faced with profound ethical questions about suffering and our feelings and our emotions and our responses to life. Which beings are capable of feeling pain? How should this knowledge shape our actions? For those with PTSD, these questions take on personal significance. If we acknowledge the capacity for suffering in others, human or even non-human, we can also validate our own experiences of pain. This recognition can be a powerful step toward healing, seeing ourselves not just as broken, but as part of a shared journey through suffering toward growth. Finally, Harris invites us to imagine broader forms of consciousness. What if plants or other seemingly inert systems are conscious? While this idea may be far-fetched at first glance, it does challenge us to rethink our relationship with the world around us. For those recovering from trauma, this thought experiment offers a profound lesson. Our pain does not exist in isolation. It's part of a larger ecosystem of awareness and interconnection. By embracing this perspective, we can begin to transcend the boundaries imposed by trauma, reconnecting with ourselves, others, and the world in a new and in meaningful ways. I'm Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.